going on.
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. I'm Mike Babcock with my guy, as always, Mojo Mutati. Mojo, we're going to start with Aaron Rodgers. Once again, of course, blockbuster news in the NFL yesterday that the four-time NFL MVP was going to sign a one-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And today, Mojo, the Steelers have confirmed this. The deal is done pending a physical, which obviously, barring something completely unforeseen here, is just a mere formality. And Aaron Rodgers, again, will be in Pittsburgh. In fact, reports are he could be there today in the city. And when minicamp rolls around next week, he will be out there with his new teammates. What's the feeling, Mojo, around the organization? That's the question now. We obviously talked a little bit yesterday, and we talked in the past about the organization's arguably the best ever quarterback. I think best ever quarterback, fair to say, even better than Ben Roethlisberger was, of course, Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw said it was a move that he did not want. So what's everybody thinking right now that despite the people who were against it, Aaron is in town and he's part of the team? Well, Mojo, we spoke with the guy who knows a little bit about winning in Pittsburgh a little bit earlier today. We talked to two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback Charlie Batch. How do you feel about the new signing, Charlie? That's what we asked him.
You never want to wish injury on anybody, but that could potentially be a blessing as you move forward because it gave his body a chance to recover as he was recovering from his Achilles injury. But yet last year wasn't his best year, and he'll be the first to admit that. But now as you now move on to another year, there's still going to be a lot of doubt that people nationally have for him, and that fuels the fire for him to now want to come in and prove a lot of people wrong. So I think there is an opportunity that way for him to move forward. Are we going to get the best, well, what we saw 10 years ago when he beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl? No, but that's expected, but ultimately this is why, this is why the organization felt the need to make this move and obviously bring him in here, because if they didn't, he would not be a member of the Steelers.
Yeah, Mojo, I think interesting that he says that, the injury could have actually been a blessing in disguise. Be really interesting to see. Aaron, I think, undoubtedly played better later in the year last year. He was getting better. I think it takes some time to recover from a serious injury. I know you've dealt with serious leg injuries, Mojo, and I think that's a great point.
It is a great point. To be honest with you, it's the only way you can look at this thing when you're pretty much a 20-year quarterback and you're coming after two abysmal seasons, one caused by an injury and the other one just, lack of performance on the team front. Do the Steelers usually have a better chance of winning a Super Bowl than the New York Jets? Absolutely. So from that standpoint alone, there's your blessing in disguise. Yeah. Still crazy to me that just a couple of years ago, this is a guy that was on top of his game, 4-time NFL MVP, 10-time Pro Bowler, as you're reading on the screen right now, just 2 short years later. Teams are taking a chance on Aaron Rodgers. Who would have thought that would have been the case? Obviously, some people in Pittsburgh not necessarily loving the move. They want a younger quarterback that can be the next Aaron Rodgers for the next 20 years and not like this short-term Band-Aid. But, hey, as we saw with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, sometimes those short-term Band-Aids win Super Bowls. So I think everyone in Pittsburgh really needs to rally around a guy that has a ton of experience, a ton of talent, and has made it to the big dance before, beating the team he's playing for now, throwing it back to that black and yellow and green and yellow remix by Lil Wayne, the theme songs that were running the Super Bowl, driving the fans crazy. That was really cool for me, at least as a Packers fan, despite the fact that they won the big Super Bowl the year after I played there, which sucked for me. Bad timing. What can you do? But either way, really excited. Aaron is in Pittsburgh. Charlie Batch, certainly feeling more positive about this than Terry Bradshaw, to say the least. And I'm pretty stoked about it.
Mojo, and, as far as him not being the guy he was 10 years ago, if we were talking about a lesser quarterback, if you're talking about Daniel Jones, for instance, he's not good enough probably at his best. But Aaron Rodgers may be the most physically gifted quarterback ever. 10 years ago. So, again, like we said yesterday, I think 80%, 75% of Aaron Rodgers still might be a top 10 quarterback in this league. I fully support this move, but we're going to find out who's right. Is Charlie Batch right? Is Terry Bradshaw right? We're going to play these games here soon enough, Mojo. Will the Steelers be good? Will they contend for a title? Will they suck and not be in contention? Stay tuned.
자, 언더독인 인디애나가 익숙한 상황을 맞이한다. 할리버튼 와우! 0.3초.
Mojo, he did it again. Tyrese Haliburton has done it multiple times these NBA playoffs. He knocks down the buzzer-beating shot against the Oklahoma City Thunder. He stuns the entire crowd, and that was the call of the night. Obviously, it was not the English call, but it was the Korean call of the Tyrese Haliburton Game 1 NBA Finals winner. Just stuns the Thunder, Mojo. I mean, the Thunder had led this game for most of the game. They were up double digits. They were up late, and once again, as the Pacers did against the Knicks, they storm back and stun the team, stun the hometown fans, and now you've got a Thunder team who were really heavy favorites to win this series. I mean, overwhelming favorites to win this series. And well, things are looking a whole lot closer now, Mojo. So the question is, how does he keep doing this? How does Haliburton, who had a decent game up until that shot, how does he always come up big seemingly in the biggest moment? Well, he's got an idea, Mojo. Watch this.
The secret sauce today was these, but no, I think as a group we take everything personal. Like as a group, it's not just me, it's everybody. You know, I feel like that's the DNA of this group, and that's not just me. That's our coaching staff does a great job of making us aware of what's being said. Us as players, we talk about it in the locker room, we talk about it on the plane. We're a young team, so we probably spend more time on social media than we should. But I just think we do a great job of taking things personal, and that gives this group more confidence, you know?
Babcock, I don't know what to talk about right now, man. I don't know whether to talk about Haliburton, the Pacers, the game itself, but I definitely know I want to talk about the Korean commentary because that was fantastic. I mean, when you're watching a highlight of a game winner like that, you want to feel the energy, right? You want to feel like you were there when you're watching that replay. And what better to give you that feeling, that hype sensation, than listening to commentary in a different language? I don't know. They just seem way more hyped up than our guys.
Yes.
Maybe it's because I don't know at all what they're saying. So I'm just, my mind's taking it where I want it to go. But either way, that was hilarious. I love every time I hear those. Tyrese Haliburton, man, is it too late to recast MVP votes? Because this dude has just been absolutely on fire, even in his post-game interviews addressing positive or negative situations. It just seems like he always has the right answer, and I feel like it's next to impossible to not like this guy right now. Tyrese Haliburton certainly making this thing way more exciting. Hell of a game. Can't wait to see how the next ones go. They've all just been so exciting to watch.
UFC champ Juliana Pena not holding back on how she feels about Kayla Harrison. Some big-time fighting words from the Venezuelan vixen when TMZ Sports rolls on right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. Mojo, we are just a day away from UFC 316. There is a massive fight going down on the card, starring those two women right there. You've got Kayla Harrison and Juliana Pena. These two women do not like each other at all. There's been bad blood for a while. It's been building, and now they are finally about to be able to put hands on each other, Mojo. And the winner of this fight not only gets bragging rights against the other one, but will also be the UFC champion. Now, this week leading up to the fight, we had an opportunity to speak with the Venezuelan vixen. Now, we asked her about one of Kayla's former teammates, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, of course, before she became the biggest star that women's mixed martial arts has ever seen, she was a very accomplished judo player, Mojo. And if you don't know about Kayla's background, Kayla was just that too. In fact, Kayla years later went on to win not one, but 2 Olympic gold medals. But Kayla and Ronda were friends, Mojo. They don't have the greatest relationship anymore necessarily. Not that there's bad blood. They just don't really see each other too much anymore. But bottom line is they were friends. They came from the same background. So with Ronda having been the one that really put women's MMA on the map, when we were speaking with Juliana, we had to ask her about that comparison between Kayla and Ronda. And I don't think we got the answer that we expected, Mojo.
I think that Ronda beat Kayla, if I'm not mistaken, when they went up against each other. And, you know, Ronda was such a phenom in the fact that she was able to just take everybody out in 10 seconds or less, you know. And I know that her manager, Kayla's, said she's going to be bigger than Ronda Rousey. Well, she's had 2 opportunities to do that. She's had multiple opportunities to do that in other promotions. And she still hasn't even been able to, you know, put a pimple on Ronda's butt cheek as far as I'm concerned. And being able to be that much of a dominant phenom like Ronda was. So she's got a far stretch in comparison to Ronda Rousey. I don't think that she touches her in that category. Not yet, not June 7th, not anytime soon.
And Mojo, for the record, when Juliana says that Ronda beat Kayla twice, she's talking about in judo, not in MMA, but point taken.
Hey, still counts, brother. And yeah, I mean, that's about as hard of a stance as you can possibly take, not leaving anything to doubt. And you know what, Babcock? I agree with her. In my book, Ronda Rousey is the greatest of all time in, you know, pretty much every category. You said to yourself, put women's MMA on the map. Yep. She put the entire sport for an entire gender on the map. I mean, what a statement to say. And I don't know anyone that would fight that statement. I mean, she was the face of the division, and she did it with her hard work, not because a promotion propped her up. She did it because she was a badass, because she beat the hell out of everyone that she was in the ring with. She had that swagger. She had that presence. From a business perspective, she could put butts in seats, selling tickets. She was great for ratings. I mean, she checked every single possible box you could have as an athlete and as a business person. So, I mean, I don't think anyone has come remotely close to entering the GOAT discussion. Ronda Rousey aside, this fight is going to be incredible. This fight is going to be extremely interesting because whereas I still maintain Ronda's the GOAT, these two are pretty much fighting for a place in the Mount Rushmore, right? I mean, some might say this is a lot. Others might say they're knocking at that door. But I mean, this is going to be a big time fight. Can't wait to see it. And hey, maybe you can call it long overdue.
What's next for Elena Black after her recent release from WWE? We'll ask the wrestler formerly known as Cora Jade when she joins us next on TMZ Sports.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. I am your host, Mojo Muhtadi. Today joined by the newly free, formerly known as Cora Jade, currently known as Elena Black. Elena, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely. First things first, I love asking this question. How does the freedom taste?
Amazing. I feel like obviously it comes in waves, you know, like no one wants to lose their dream job, but I've never felt such a sense of like relief almost, like just that the world is at my exposure to do whatever I want, whether it's I am going to continue wrestling, but whatever other opportunities come after this, I'm really excited. And I feel for the first time in a while, like very happy with like the present and just how life is right now.
Doing a little bit of homework on you. You've cited Bailey, AJ Lee, Sasha Banks, now Mercedes Moné as some of your favorites. Of course, Mercedes over at AEW now. What's going to come next for you in wrestling? Is AEW a possibility? I know you have your first match announced for June 14th with Black Label Pro.
Yep.
What's next in the wrestling front?
Look, I have no idea. I feel like for the first time ever, I'm trying not to focus too much on the future because I feel like I maybe did a little bit too much of that and was always focused on the next thing, what's coming next, and maybe not fully enjoying it as much as I should have. And I feel like right now is like the time that I want to do that. So of course I want to, wrestling is my life. It's for the past 16 years, it's all I've ever known. Like I've dedicated my life to making it as a wrestler. So I want to wrestle and I want to wrestle permanently somewhere, whether that call comes from AEW or if it comes from WWE again one day, I'm not sure, but I'm open to whatever. I absolutely love AEW. I've been watching it since it first started. I just love wrestling, and I feel like I've said before, they have so much creative freedom, which I love, because I love like the stories and stuff like that. So I have no idea what the future holds, but I feel like I'm not really worried about it. Like I'm just taking it day by day, and if a call comes, hell yeah. But if it doesn't, I'm focused on the day to day and other wrestling opportunities as well. Because like you said, when you're like, it's kind of hard to, once you step out of that WWE world, it's almost like its own little bubble. And it feels like once you're out of it, it's like you don't really know like what the real world is like again. So it's adjusting and stuff like that. And obviously being a WWE fan since I was 8 years old, I've only ever committed my life to making it to WWE, and now that chapter is over, it's like kind of the weird spot where I'm like, oh, what do I do now? Like, but it's like an exciting feeling as well, because now I almost feel like I accomplished a few certain dreams that I wanted to do. Obviously there's more I always want to do, but I feel happy with what I did in my time there, especially like those last probably 6 or so months. I got to work with Bailey. She's obviously one of my idols, so that was insane, and we became such good friends over these past few years. So she just made me feel so comfortable and confident in myself. And then I became very close with Stephanie and Julia. So like after all the shows for like those last few months of my career was just me, Roxy, Stephanie, and Julia just having a blast, like laughing and doing so much stuff together, like our matches and even just everything. Almost it's like everything else besides the matches is what was so important to me, like all the memories we made and how close I got with all of them. And so I feel like if I could have had it end anyway, I'm glad that it ended that way.
And that's the perfect attitude, professionally, personally, and also from a professional standpoint, because you have a lot of business ventures that, you're getting up and rocking, one of which I believe you have a YouTube channel that's coming out soon.
Yes, I am going to make a YouTube channel. It's already up right now. I just haven't really done anything since I was on the indies. So there's like all those.
Now you'll have the time for it.
6 years ago, but I do want to do something. I don't know if I want to do like a podcast or maybe just like a weekly series or something like that. Just stay tuned. There's a lot of good things coming. I have my OnlyFans. I have my YouTube channel coming out. I have a signing this weekend. It's June 7th in St. Augustine. And my first match is June 14th at Black Label Pro. Shortly after that is GCW, me, Joey Janela. But you can see it all on my Instagram, Twitter. It's all at Elena Black, or one of them is like Elena Black Real. I gotta figure out my usernames, but everything's in my link tree.
Elena, thank you so much for joining us today on TMZ Sports. We can't wait to see what you're up to next.
Thank you so much for having me.
A former NFL Pro Bowler throws an all-time bad ceremonial first pitch at a Major League Baseball game. The hilarious footage coming your way next when TMZ Sports returns.
He's a lefty, I think. Yeah, he is. Here it comes. The full windup, the pitch. Look out! And his partner, Will Compton, will try to get a little closer to home. Here it comes. Oh! It's going to be a long car ride back home for Taylor Lewan.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Mike and Mojo. Mojo, that was one of the worst first pitches that we have ever seen. That is like up there. It's on a par with 50 Cent's first pitch, like better form than 50, but just a bit outside is what comes to mind. If you don't recognize that guy, that is Taylor Lewan, who was a really good, better than good offensive lineman for the Tennessee Titans for a long time. Mojo, he was a 3-time Pro Bowler. He was a top pick. I mean, you name it, the guy did it in football. Not a baseball player, apparently. Now, what made it even worse for him, Mojo, was that He threw the first pitch. This, by the way, was at Busch Stadium in St. Louis for the Cardinals there. And his podcast, they've got this popular podcast, Bussin' with the Boys. His popular podcast host, Will Compton, also an NFL player, Mojo, not as good of a resume as far as the football field goes, but a better pitcher, because then Will Compton just fires a strike, a fastball right down the middle, like, beautiful pitch from Will Compton, not so much by Taylor. So, yeah, you got to get on that mound, Taylor, and work on that first pitch. That was awful.
I mean, I'm confused, Babcock. I wasn't sure which pitch was actually the bad pitch. You know, I'm not quite sure on that, because I think you were confused actually, Babcock, because I think you thought that Taylor was trying to throw to the catcher. Obviously, he was trying to throw to the lady in the bright neon green or yellow attire.
Right.
Look at this. If you're looking at that, look how spot on that is.
Right.
And she is way farther back from the catcher. So I'm going to argue that Taylor actually came out on top. I mean, how could you not aim for her? Look how bright that attire is. I'm not talking trash, because she probably got that outfit out of my closet. That looks exactly like something that I would wear. But I'm just saying, I think Taylor wins this one in the head-to-head. And Taylor gets extra points because he's a lefty. More difficult coming from a lefty.
The way he did the whole windup, I was like, this guy is going to throw a perfect strike. He looked like he knew what he was doing. And then, well, maybe it was like you said, Mojo, in which case he's a great pitcher. So incredible accuracy from Taylor Lewan there. We got to go, Mojo. We are out of time. Great first pitch. I love bad first pitches. Nothing better. We got to go. We got a bunch happening this weekend. Lots of sports going down, horse races, NBA Finals. We have a bunch to talk about, Mojo, on Monday. It's going to be a great show.
Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday, where it will be the best show since today.
I'm a lawyer.